Where do our thoughts come from? Our thoughts come from and is a result of the knowledge that we have. They didn't just automatically just come into our mind. It's a result and a product of the knowledge that we have in our mind. Have you ever just, matter of fact, now, when you go back, you think about the knowledge, I mean, it's not necessarily right knowledge.
Yeah, come on.
It doesn't necessarily have to be good or bad or right or wrong. It just has to be some type of knowledge. And here's the key. The only thing that I have to do is get you to believe it. All I got to do is get you to believe some type of knowledge, and it will change your thought process, which will change your behavior, change your emotions, change your perspective, change your feelings, just like that. And I think a lot of us are operating on bad knowledge. Had a guy one time come up and tell me something about somebody, and it affected the way I seen that man. It affected the way I felt about that man. It affected everything that I had between me and that other man simply because of the false knowledge that this young man put in my mind and I believed. And so if we're not careful, we'll allow the bad knowledge to come into our minds and we will believe it, which will change our perspective and our behavior, even though it's wrong knowledge, even though it's not good knowledge, even though it's false knowledge. It will cause us to react the same way. And if I was the devil, here's what I would do to you. I would make sure you had all the false knowledge you could possibly have in your life. Because if it doesn't matter if it's right or wrong, as long as you got some type of knowledge in your mind, it's going to create a thought, which is going to create a behavior, which is going to create an emotion, which can cause problems in your life. And that's exactly what that devil does to us. That's exactly what he does to us on a daily basis. We allow the false knowledge, the misconceptions of his lies, because he is the father of all lies. Do you know that?
Amen.
We allow that to come in, and it exalts itself against the knowledge of God. That's why this verse says, casting down every imagination. The imagination is the false concepts, the false knowledge, the false ideas. It's not even true. He's saying, cast all these things away. And everything that exalts itself, that's trying to exalt itself over and above the knowledge of God. He said, because if you don't, amen, instead of you taking your thoughts into captivity, your thoughts will have you in captivity. And then you are prey to your thoughts. And now those bad thoughts are controlling you. They're controlling your emotions. They're controlling your behavior. And you know what? If you ever just simply thought, when you acted in the wrong way, you said, that's not me. Come on now, somebody say amen. I'm not the only one in here. I mean, you acted in a way and you stopped back, you said, that ain't me. That ain't me. But somehow that knowledge got into your mind. And you thought that it was true, so it affected you. And it caused you to behave in that way that you shouldn't have behaved. And I find that to be so true in my life, in the life of others, when I watch people and I see how they behave and I see how they talk and I see how they act and I see their different emotions. I wonder to myself, I wonder what kind of knowledge they're believing now. I wonder what kind of knowledge they're believing now. Because it don't have to be right knowledge, it just has to be something that they're going to believe. Because as I look at this and I see how God works and how He told Adam and Eve not to eat of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, I think they were perfectly fine not eating of that tree, don't you think? I honestly believe that they were okay with not eating and partaking from the tree of knowledge of good and evil until the subtle serpent gave them a different type of knowledge. Because God's knowledge says do not eat and you will die. The serpent's knowledge says eat, you'll be fine. So you have two types of knowledge there. One knowledge is the knowledge of God. The other knowledge is the knowledge of the enemy. Which one are you going to believe? Which one's going to give you life and which one's going to give you death? Which one? I give you 2 seconds to answer that. One. There's only one knowledge that's going to give me life. And that's the knowledge of God. And that's exactly what the serpent did, that subtle beast in the field. You know, when you look at that word subtle, it means to make bare. It's crafty, it's cunning, but it also means to make bare. And there's one thing that I want to make you as a Christian, and you as a Christian, I would want to make you bare. And the one way I can get you to do that is to believe a lie. To allow that false lie, that false knowledge to enter in that brain, to create a thought that's going to create death in that life. If I was the devil, that's what I would do to you. I would let that lie get into the church. I would let it try to get into the pastor and his family. I'd get it into the board. I'd get it into the Sunday school teachers. I'd let it go throughout our minds on a daily basis. I would let everybody think a lie and go on thinking everything's okay, but it's only bringing death into that life. And my goodness, their thoughts are bringing them into captivity.